Chapter 1. Introduction. Life is tough, complicated, and relentless in its motion. As adults, we are required to deal with a myriad of issues, events, and situations. From our career to our finances, our relationships, retirement planning, it just seems to go on and on. Between taking care of all that, our own health and well-being often falls by the wayside. Most of the time, we are simply running our bodies on autopilot, doing what we always do, and hoping it all works out. Even when we decide to start taking better care of ourselves, what stops us in our tracks is that there are just too many things to think about. Are we getting the right nutrition? Are we getting the right amount of exercise? Are our hormones balanced? Do we need any supplements? Which diet should we follow? And so much more. Needless to say, it can really be daunting for someone who is not a health professional and one who doesn't want to devote their life researching this topic. When I was in my 20s and pursuing my PhD, I learned the value of scientific methods and understood the realities and limitations of the field of research. I realized there are tons of helpful information out there, including the ones gathered anecdotally, which can be helpful, even though they remain unverified and unresearched. I also learned that big pharmaceutical companies and food industry publish and market information through their sister organizations, hiding their true allegiance to spread misinformation that serves their needs and drives people to purchase their food, their medicine, and into a life of dependency on their products and becoming their customers for life. Thanks to my training, I was always good at collecting data and looking for patterns. I started investing significant free time reading, experimenting, and jotting down my observations, and then trying all the supplements and fitness-related devices under the sun, sometimes with the help of coaches, trainers, and fitness enthusiast friends. I carefully recorded how my body reacted to various trials. Some of these notes I would share with friends who were eager to know what I was up to and had their own struggles with weight or their own fitness goals and looking for solutions. I learned my lessons and adjusted. I learned that it's the small changes made over time that consistently lead to big results over time. It's like compound interest that helps grow your retirement funds. The small amounts added over time accrue and keep growing. Same principle applies to your health. One small tweak to your diet here, one extra rep in your workout there, one extra push needed to resist quitting another day, and this all keeps getting added to your health balance and keeps building and growing just like compound interest. I also learned that consistency is the most important thing. If we are persistent with our selected diet plan or exercise routine, we will see results. The issue is more that we don't know how to stay consistent and yet still have a life, have fun with friends, have occasional slip-ups, and yet recover and get back on track. And that is what causes the biggest setbacks and failures for most people. My goal is to provide you with easy-to-follow advice that has worked for me and countless other people. It is an actionable guide that is easy to understand, like the alphabets, and that anybody can do. ABCD method. The book is divided into 4 major chapters: biochemistry, diet, exercise, and hacks. These 4 areas form the pillars that sits on top of the foundation of your age, gender, genetics, and lifestyle to mold your body to withstand the rigors of life. Let's get started. Chapter 2. Biochemistry. Biochemistry, as the name indicates, combines 2 science disciplines, biology and chemistry. It tries to explain the effects of genetics, metabolism, and biomolecules through their impact on the cellular processes that occur within our body. Genetics refers to how the information encoded in our DNA results in the cellular processes within our body. This encompasses heredity, any genetic variations within our body, and any mutations. This is something we are born with, so we can't do too much besides gene therapy to change it. Metabolism is the mechanism by which the cells in our body harness energy from food for essential and non-essential functions. Our metabolic rate changes depending on our activity level, while the basal metabolic rate, BMR, which is the energy needed by the body to perform the body's essential functions like breathing, digestion, blood circulation, etc., stays steady. The only way to affect the overall metabolism is through our activity levels and the foods we eat. Biomolecules refer to the four main types of molecules within our bodies: carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. Carbohydrates are the most prevalent biomolecule, and they help to provide the cellular structure and also act as energy storage. Lipids comprise of a range of fats or fatty acid related molecules, and they also act as energy storage while providing rigid or flexible structure of various cells. Proteins are large molecules made of amino acids, and they carry structural and functional roles within the body, like the contraction of skeletal muscle. Nucleic acids are primarily found in the cell nuclei and convey genetic information as well as form the base for adenosine triphosphate, ATP, which is the primary energy carrier molecule found in all living organisms. Biomolecules, which basically form the structure of our body, tells us about the importance of consuming carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, and how these molecules are used for sustenance and growth. These are important macronutrients, which we will cover in more detail in the chapter on diet. Before we get into diet and exercise though, we need to learn about our body's hidden messengers called hormones. Hormones can be categorized structurally or functionally, but for the purposes of this book, it's best to think of the three major types that are most directly related to health and fitness. We will look at steroidal hormones that impact muscle growth, nitric oxide that plays a huge role in blood circulation and nutrient transport, and insulin, plus leptin and ghrelin hormones that signal hunger, uptake of nutrients by our cells, and lead to energy or fat storage in various cells. Our goal is not to get into a detailed dissertation of all the hormones and the interplay between them in the body, but give you an introduction to these important messengers that drive our results from whatever changes we make to our diet and exercise. 2.1. Repair and growth. When we think of hormones required for muscle building and fitness, the first that jumps out to us is testosterone. Testosterone is primarily thought of as a male hormone, even though it is present in both men and women, and plays a vital role in muscle development and growth for both. It's a steroid hormone that is synthesized from cholesterol, which is the precursor to all steroid hormones produced within the body. There are many other steroid hormones besides testosterone, with the chief ones being estrogen and the growth hormone, both of which also play an important role in controlling metabolism, immune functions, and at the same time influencing bone and muscle growth and development. Cholesterol is synthesized in the liver. Hence, if the liver is not healthy, it can hurt the production of testosterone, estrogen, and growth hormones, even though these hormones themselves are produced in other glands, mostly gonads. Decreasing levels of cholesterol also cause a deficit of vitamin D levels in our body, resulting in bone problems and other growth issues. These hormones need to be at a healthy level in the body to support your efforts of fat loss, muscle building, and healthy bones and body. Our testosterone levels typically peak in our 20s and starts declining from then onwards. Apart from aging, there are some medical conditions that could cause a decline in testosterone as well, like diabetes, coronary heart disease, obesity, depression, etc. For many people, these hormones can get out of proportion or may be produced by their bodies at suboptimum levels, leading to various health-related issues, or it may lead to not seeing any progress from changes made to their diet and exercise plans. It's good to consult a doctor periodically, especially as you get older, to check your hormone levels and make sure to take remedial measures if they are not at healthy levels. In most cases, however, healthy lifestyle, proper sleep, healthy diet, and good amount of exercise and occasional supplementation of nutrients missing from your diet can positively impact the hormones and regulate them to optimum levels. Estrogen is the dominant female hormone that is also produced by men, just at different levels, and is needed for many important functions. It's measured through estradiol levels, and it changes with age for both men and women, although more drastically for women depending on their menstrual cycle, whether they are pregnant or postmenopausal. It's important to make sure that for both men and women, the testosterone and estrogen hormones are in a balanced state for your age. As you get older, it's important to get your testosterone and estrogen levels checked with a qualified medical professional. Hormone imbalances can lead to trouble with losing fat and gaining muscle with diet and exercise changes. Mood is another great indicator, and if you often find yourself with low motivation and low energy, your hormones may be to blame. If your hormones are within normal range medically, but on the low end, you may still experience troubling symptoms, but may not be suitable candidates for medication. There are a few things you can do to restore your hormonal balance and raise levels naturally. Here are a few of them. Get proper restful sleep for at least 8 hours every night. Lower your stress levels by doing meditation or other relaxing activities. Eat a balanced diet that matches your nutritional requirements. See chapter on diet. Get on a proper exercise plan that you can consistently follow. See chapter on exercise. Use supplementation if necessary. Some herbal remedies can be quite effective, but be careful about the source. Look for brands with good reputation and products with lots of good reviews. Make sure to cycle any supplementation so that it doesn't negatively affect your body's natural hormone production mechanism and prevents your body from getting used to the dosage. A 5 days on, 2 days off weekly schedule and or 3 weeks on, 1 week off schedule works for most people. With these incorporated in your lifestyle, you should start to notice some positive difference. Pay special attention to your mood and how you look and feel. It might also help to follow this routine for 3 months before getting a follow-up check for your hormone levels to see how you are progressing. Takeaway: steroidal hormones can play a very important part in your goals towards healthy body and lifestyle. It's important to be aware of them and act if necessary to bring them in order. Use natural means as much as possible and opt for medication only if necessary due to poor genetics or disease. Blood circulation. The circulation system in our body affects the transport of oxygen, hormones, and nutrients to where they are needed for the proper functioning of our body. If this system is not working properly or effectively, it can, as you would expect, lead to a host of issues. Poor circulation is also a sign of various health problems like obesity, diabetes, heart issues, etc. So we are wise to pay attention to it. Nitric oxide, NO, is an important natural component of the biochemistry of humans, and it is essential when it comes to the body's circulation through its effect on dilating blood vessels to regulate the blood pressure. It also acts as a chemical messenger for the proper functioning of the nervous and immune system. The interior surface, endothelium, of your arteries produce NO. When plaque builds up in your arteries, called atherosclerosis, you reduce your capacity to produce NO. This is a dangerous disease that can cause heart attack and stroke if left unchecked. At early stages of this condition, it can be improved by implementing ways to boost your NO levels naturally. However, for more advanced stages, physicians would typically prescribe nitroglycerin to artificially boost NO levels. NO deficiencies can be caused due to aging, inactivity, smoking, high cholesterol, fatty diets, and lack of healthy foods. There are some easy-to-use strips, for example, one by Human N, that you can use at home, which gives you instant results to show whether you are NO deficient. Human N also sells supplements that can be used to boost your NO levels. The best way to increase NO is through exercise. When you run or lift weights, your muscles need more oxygen, which is supplied by the blood. As the heart pumps with more pressure to supply the muscles with blood, the lining in your arteries releases NO into the blood. Another way to increase NO is through diet and supplementation. There are 3 amino acids, citrulline, arginine, and ornithine, that are key components of the urea cycle inside the liver that leads to NO production. Takeaway: nitric oxide is one of the most important chemical messengers of our body. It affects your memory, workout, immune system, sexual health, and even sleep quality. The best way to increase the NO levels in your body is through starting an exercise program for cardiovascular health and adding foods rich in citrulline, arginine, and ornithine amino acids. There are many commonly available supplements, like the ones for pre-workout, that contain citrulline, which can also help. Digestion. Digestion is the process by which our body releases energy from the food we ingest. However, this process begins with a feeling of hunger, at which point we are driven to consume food. Once we consume food and are satiated, our brain receives the signal to stop eating. It's important that the signaling mechanism for appetite and satiety are working well so that our body is not accumulating too much fat from overeating or losing weight due to undereating. This feeling of hunger and satiety is controlled through the hormones leptin and ghrelin. It's also important that nutrients are properly extracted from the food and shuttled to the cells for use in storage where they are needed. That's the role played by the hormone insulin. We will look at these hormones in this section. Insulin. When we eat, food travels to our stomach and small intestines where it is broken down into nutrients, which is distributed via our circulatory system. The pancreas is an organ located in the abdomen that produces insulin and releases it into the bloodstream when we eat, where it turns to glucose extracted from food into energy and distributes it to cells throughout our body. Insulin helps the liver, muscle cells, and fat cells to store the glucose as glycogen, to be used as fuel for workouts and daily activity. The liver releases small amounts of glucose into the bloodstream between meals to keep our blood sugars within a healthy range. If for some reason our body does not produce enough insulin, which is the case for people with type 1 diabetes, the cells don't get enough glucose for healthy functioning, and there is a glucose buildup within the blood. In type 2 diabetes, caused typically due to poor diet and lack of exercise over time, there is insufficient production of insulin by the pancreas as well as the inability of cells to respond to insulin in the liver, muscle, and fat cells, a condition known as insulin resistance. When this happens, the blood sugar stays elevated because the cells aren't as receptive to the effects of insulin in receiving the glucose, thereby leaving the glucose circulating in the blood and not where they need to be, which also leads to the cells getting deprived of the useful energy they need to properly function. This can lead to complications that include kidney disease, nerve damage, eye problems, and stomach problems. People with type 1 diabetes and some with type 2 need insulin therapy and/or drugs like metformin. However, for type 2 diabetes and people who are in the risk category or pre-diabetic, a proper diet and exercise plan can help with avoiding and controlling symptoms. A low glycemic index diet, low-calorie diet, and particularly vegetarian diet have been found to help with prevention and management of insulin resistance. There are certain over-the-counter supplements using natural ingredients like cinnamon, mulberry, licorice, Gymnema sylvestre, apple cider vinegar, bitter gourd, etc. that seem to also help a lot of people. Making these ingredients a part of your diet, even if you're not symptomatic, can help manage blood sugar better and act as a preventative measure. Now, let's look at the scenario of someone otherwise healthy who is actively trying to lose fat. The equation of losing fat is simple. You must be in caloric deficit, i.e. the amount of calorie intake should be lower than the energy spent by your body. This is typically done by cutting down carbohydrates and calories. When you keep carbs and calories low, insulin levels are low as they are not required in as much amounts anymore. This reduces the glycogen levels in your cells. One outcome of this is your body now responds by starting to use the energy stored in fat cells as fuel to conserve the remaining glycogen in your tissues. It can also increase the number of insulin receptors in your cells so that when you do take in carbohydrates, it can efficiently start to rebuild its glycogen stores. This is an ideal state for the body to be in, where the body is burning fat for energy, and if you are doing any workout, you can increase your carbs and caloric intake, and the nutrients will get shuttled to the muscles efficiently to help them recover and grow. The only issue is that this state can't be sustained for too long. If you continue to consume elevated number of calories, soon you will have a lot of insulin floating in the bloodstream constantly. The insulin sensitivity of cells will decrease, and you enter a state of insulin resistance over time. This interplay is one of the reasons why most people see fast positive changes in the beginning of a new diet or workout plan which stagnates after a while. One way we can avoid this stagnation is through a nutrition cycling approach where we cycle our caloric intake through the week by eating lower calories and lower carbs for a period, and then increasing calories and carbs following that for a short period, and then continuing to cycle between these two levels. This is best managed in conjunction with some sort of exercise plan where you are doing high levels of activity for 3 to 4 days a week, during which your body requires more calories and nutrition to rebuild and grow. These exercise days can become your high caloric intake days, while other days when you are not working out and have low physical activity, you can reduce your caloric intake. By managing your nutrient intake based on the energy expenditure, you optimize your body's ability to use nutrients and sidestep the pitfalls of insulin resistance. Takeaway. Insulin is a very important hormone in the body that acts like a key to unlock cells and allow uptake of nutrients like glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids. Managing insulin is very important to prevent harmful diseases like diabetes. To do this, focus on a lifestyle that incorporates good diet and healthy amount of exercise. Diet should include primarily unprocessed, low glycemic index whole foods. Incorporate ingredients like cinnamon, apple cider vinegar, bitter gourd, etc. in your diet as a preventative measure. Use nutrition cycling approach with a good weekly exercise plan to manage caloric intake based on activity levels to maintain insulin sensitivity and its benefits. Leptin and ghrelin. Leptin, also known as the satiety hormone, helps inhibit hunger and regulate energy balance by sending signals to the hypothalamus in the brain so the body does not trigger hunger responses when it does not need energy. When the body is functioning properly, excess fat cells will produce leptin, which will trigger the hypothalamus to lower the appetite. Therefore, the primary design of leptin is to help the body maintain its weight. When we eat too much fatty foods over time, we start to store too much leptin in the blood, which can cause a lack of sensitivity to the hormone, a condition known as leptin resistance that will keep the hypothalamus from processing the signal of satiety. This leads to overeating. This can over time lead to obesity and other harmful diseases like heart disease and diabetes. It's best to avoid eating fatty processed foods too often to prevent this natural signaling system from breaking down. Ghrelin, also known as the hunger hormone, helps to control and stimulate our appetite. It is produced in the stomach and small intestine with a little bit of the hormone released in the pancreas and brain that triggers the feeling of hunger. Ghrelin levels go up when you are hungry and go down for about 3 hours after the meal. Ghrelin in the body increases if a person is undereating and decreases if the person is overeating. People who struggle with anorexia nervosa may have high ghrelin levels, which occurs as part of the body's natural response to starvation. Takeaway. There are multiple ways to regulate our hunger and appetite hormones. Avoid highly processed foods rich in saturated fats that cause leptin resistance. Eat a diet rich in carbohydrates from whole foods with balanced amounts of protein and fats. Get enough sleep, as sleep deprivation is associated with an increase in ghrelin levels, appetite, and hunger. Chapter 3. Diet. If there is one thing that's going to make the biggest impact on your life, it's not your biochemistry, it's not your exercises, it's your diet. You must have heard the phrase, 6-packs are made in the kitchen, not the gym. There is a good reason behind it. You can burn all the calories you want doing exercise, but if you keep adding more calories through your diet or eating nutritionally deficient food, you are not going to see as much positive changes in the body. Plus, exercise only works out your muscles and increases your anaerobic capacity, but doesn't add nutrients that you need for sustenance and rebuilding your body, diet is the key to unlocking your health. What, when, how much to eat. The amount you eat and its effect on health, especially your weight, is obvious to most people. Yet most people have trouble defining how much is too much. The easiest way to understand if you are eating too much is to weigh yourself regularly. If you continue to gain weight over a period of time, then you are eating more than your metabolism requires. If you continue to lose weight, then you are probably eating less than you are burning off. What you should eat is easy to list. There are tons of books, pundits on TV, and articles on the internet telling you about it. What is more difficult is to adhere to a new diet if you decide to make changes. That's where most people falter. It's no good if you make all these wonderful changes but can't stick to it. You will gradually lose all the benefits and may even regress. The solution that I recommend is being aware of what's good and what's bad for you, and then making small tweaks in your current diet to incorporate as many of the changes as you can. If you make too many drastic changes all at once, it can be too difficult, and soon you will be looking for cheat meals all the time and eventually abandon the plan. I don't believe in the idea of cheat meals. It only helps reinforce the idea that what you are supposed to be eating most of the time is not what you truly want to eat, and the only escape from that is through cheat meals. That approach is a recipe for failure. Instead, we should be thinking of ways to make the food we should be eating, like whole foods that include vegetables, fruits, nuts, legumes, etc., tastier and even more enjoyable. This can be done using spices, finding better recipes, or even trying new cuisines. Introduce small changes gradually, and then get your taste buds adjusted to the new flavors, and then make more changes as you go along. You will soon be finding new and interesting flavors, things to cook, things that you never thought you would like before, and keep moving towards a positive change without a massive shock to your system. I promise you that in a couple months your diet will have improved a lot, even while you are enjoying your meal as much as, or even more than before. What time you eat is the tricky part, and here is where you may need to make some changes. This will require some readjustment to your lifestyle. This is important because it adds a certain mindfulness to your diet. Having a structure allows you to think about food that you eat and truly enjoy your meals when you do. It also allows for better control of snacking habits. Before we get to the what, how, and when in more detail, in the sections on general principles of diet and eating approaches, let's start with our nutritional needs. We need to know what our body needs and how our body uses these nutrients to function, build, and grow to truly appreciate why a change is important. 3.1 Macronutrients. The nutrients that we consume in the largest quantities and which provide the bulk of the energy for our body's proper functioning are classified as macronutrients and consist of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Although water must be also consumed in large quantities and is extremely essential for healthy functioning of our body, it doesn't inherently carry any nutrient, so we don't count that here. In general, macronutrients provide energy. It is important to know that fats have an energy content of 9 calories a gram, and proteins and carbohydrates have an energy content of 4 calories per gram. Let's start with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, or carbs, are the body's main source of energy. These are the sugars, starches, and fibers found in fruits, grains, vegetables, milk products, etc. Though often maligned in trendy diets, carbs are one of the main macronutrients and extremely important as an energy source for our body. Carbs provide fuel for the central nervous system and energy for working muscles. They also prevent protein from being used as an energy source and enable fat metabolism. They nourish the brain as well as the body and therefore also influence our mood and memory. It's important to establish the extremely critical role carbs play in our body, as many people incorrectly see carbs as the enemy. If you have ever looked up information on dieting or started dieting yourself, You would have come across this idea that if you want to lose fat and get healthy, then you need to cut out carbs. Some diets even go to an extreme and talk about eliminating carbs altogether from your diet. Reducing carb intake might be beneficial to some, especially for those who consume disproportionate amount of carbs to the exclusion of other macronutrients like proteins and fats, and for those who consume too much of the wrong kind of carb. Simply put, simple carbs are the wrong kind of carbs that should only be consumed in small amounts and at specific times. For example, when a quick burst of energy is needed, like right after a workout. Complex carbs are the right kind, or the good kind, that take a while to absorb into our system but give sustained energy and help with several of the body's essential biochemical processes. Protein. Proteins are often called the body's building blocks. They are used to build and repair tissues, support our immune system, and help with many of the body's biochemical processes. It is important to consume protein in required amounts for the proper functioning of our body. Protein is found in many food sources such as nuts, legumes, milk, eggs, and meat. Just as with carbs, it is beneficial to consume protein through whole foods, with emphasis on plant-based sources as much as possible. If your lifestyle, workout, and health goals require additional protein than available from your diet, then we can also rely upon supplementation using one of the several protein powders available in the market. One question that often comes up regarding protein is how much we need. There are various numbers floating around, some quite low and some very high, and new research seems to indicate that we don't need as much protein as previously thought. The Dietary Reference Intake (DRI) guidelines is 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. That translates to 0.36 grams of protein per pound of body weight. This applies to average sedentary male or female. However, if you are invested in efforts to build muscle through workout or are generally an active individual, your protein requirements will be much higher to repair and grow the broken muscle tissue from activity. Bodybuilders are often seen consuming anywhere from 2 to 3 times as much as these recommended levels of protein, which is equivalent to 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. The most common way to introduce supplemental protein in your diet is through protein powders. It can be very helpful for people who don't get enough protein through their main meals or ones who have elevated protein requirements, especially athletes or anyone on an exercise program focused on muscle gain and fat loss. The advantage of protein powder is the ease of use. Simply mix with water. Ease of tracking, nutrition facts on the bottle make it easier to track your macronutrients, and the high concentration of protein. It's also possible to add protein powder, especially one with a neutral flavor like vanilla, to other food items that can make for a healthier snack like smoothies, oatmeal, etc. The most common form of protein powder is whey-based, and they are preferred by some people for quick absorption. Casein protein powders are perfect for providing a slow and steady release of protein into the body over several hours, which can be desirable when taken before bedtime to avoid hunger pangs during sleep. Some people prefer vegan protein powders, and many current forms of those are offered with an equally complete amino acid profile as that of whey or casein protein powders. We should be careful when consuming high amounts of protein, as it can place a large amount of stress on your kidneys and cause calcium loss, which is vital for healthy bones. Typically, this is more of a risk for people who increase their protein consumption by relying too much on protein powders or have very heavy meat-based diets. As a baseline, it's best to increase your protein intake through whole foods, preferably plant-based, or through reliable sources of meat free from harmful hormones or antibiotics. Fat. Fat is an important macronutrient that serves various structural and metabolic functions within the body. They are the most energy dense, 9 calories per gram, out of the 3 macronutrients. The fatty tissues in the body serves as an important means for our body to store energy over extended periods of time. When our body is deprived of energy due to starvation, these fatty cells are broken down to release energy. Eating the right amount and the right form of dietary fat is key to maintaining good health. Some fatty acids cannot be synthesized in the body, so they must be provided through food. These are the omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, collectively known as the essential fatty acids. Other fats needed by the body can be synthesized from these and other fats broken down in the body by enzymes called lipases, secreted by the pancreas. Eating foods with fat is part of a healthy diet. We need to differentiate between good fats and bad fats. Saturated fats are the bad fats, as they are linked to high cholesterol levels and an increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. They typically come from animal sources such as red meats, poultry, and dairy products. They are solid at room temperature like cheese, butter, and oils like palm oil and coconut oil. Baked goods are typically cooked using these types of oils and are typically high in saturated fats too. Trans fats are another group of bad fats and are linked to heart diseases. They both lower your good cholesterol and increase your bad cholesterol. They are sometimes found naturally in meats or dairy, but usually in small amounts. They are found in partially hydrogenated oils that are often used in the fast foods. They are also found in processed foods like frozen pizza, baked goods, crackers, refrigerated dough, coffee creamer, etc., added by the manufacturers for the purpose of increasing the shelf life of these items. These need to be avoided or reduced in your diet as much as possible. Monounsaturated fats are the good kind of fats that have a heart protective role and have been linked to improved cholesterol levels and help with insulin levels and blood sugar control. These are found in oils that are liquid at room temperature like canola, peanut, or olive oil. Olives and avocados also contain monounsaturated fats. Like monounsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats are also the good kinds of fats that help manage blood cholesterol levels, leading to a decreased risk of cardiovascular disease. They also help with cell development and maintenance and provide essential fatty acids, including omega-6 and omega-3. Polyunsaturated fats are found mostly in plant sources like corn, peanut, grapeseed, soybeans, and soybean oil, sunflower seeds and oil, walnuts, olive oil, canola oil, and flax seeds. They're also present in fatty fish like salmon, tuna, herring, mackerel, and trout. They are also important anti-inflammatories and promote healthy skin and hair, bone health, and benefit a healthy metabolism. Micronutrients. Micronutrients refers to the vitamins and minerals that are essential for our body. They perform hundreds of roles in the body that includes repairing and strengthening bones, healing wounds, bolstering the immune system, converting food into energy, repairing cellular damage, helping nerve signals function properly, and much more. We obtain most of these vitamins and minerals through the food we eat, while there are some that are produced by our body. Vitamins and minerals are often called micronutrients because our body needs only tiny amounts of them. Yet, failing to get even those small quantities can lead to various diseases like scurvy, vitamin C deficiency, rickets, vitamin D deficiency, blindness, vitamin A deficiency, etc. Just as a lack of micronutrients can cause substantial harm to your body, getting sufficient quantities can provide a substantial benefit, like helping with strong bones, vitamin D, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, vitamin K, etc. Prevent any birth defects, folic acid, healthy teeth, mineral fluoride, etc. Though they are all considered micronutrients, vitamins and minerals differ in basic ways. Vitamins are organic and can be broken down by heat, air, or acid. Minerals are inorganic and hold on to their chemical structure. The distinction is important to know, as it means that the minerals in soil and water can easily find their way into our body through the plants, fish, animals, and fluids we consume. But it's more difficult to shuttle vitamins from food and other sources into our body because cooking, storage, and simple air exposure can break down these more fragile compounds. Another important consideration is the interaction between different micronutrients. Vitamin D enables our body to extract calcium from food sources, passing them through the digestive tract. Vitamin C helps absorb iron. The interplay of micronutrients isn't always cooperative though. For example, vitamin C blocks the body's ability to assimilate the essential mineral copper, and even a minor overload of the mineral manganese can worsen iron deficiency. Vitamins. Water-soluble vitamins are packed into the watery portions of the food we eat. They are absorbed directly into the bloodstream as food is broken down during digestion. Because much of our body consists of water, many of the water-soluble vitamins circulate easily in the body. Our kidneys continuously regulate levels of water-soluble vitamins, shunting excess out of the body in urine. Water-soluble vitamins are B vitamins, biotin, vitamin B7, folic acid, folate, vitamin B9, niacin, vitamin B3, pantothenic acid, vitamin B5, riboflavin, vitamin B2, thiamine, vitamin B1, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, and vitamin C. These vitamins help with releasing energy from food, produce energy, build cells through amino acids, make collagen that heals wounds, supports blood vessel walls, and forms the base of our teeth and bones. As you can imagine, due to these important functions, our body needs a regular supply of these vitamins. So if you are not consuming enough of these vitamins through a healthy and balanced diet, you might be deficient and need supplementation. However, some water-soluble vitamins can stay in the body for long periods of time. B12 in the liver can last years, folic acid and vitamin C can last days. So there is a risk that consuming large amounts of some of these through supplementation can be harmful. For example, very high doses of B6 can damage nerves, causing numbness and muscle weakness. So take supplements wisely and at the recommended dosage, and try to get as much of these vitamins through food rather than supplementation. Fat-soluble vitamins enter the bloodstream via lymph channels in the intestinal wall. Unlike the water-soluble vitamins that can easily enter the bloodstream, many fat-soluble vitamins can travel through the body only through the help of proteins acting as carriers. When food is digested by stomach acid, it travels to the small intestine where it is digested further. Bile, which is produced in the liver, flows into the small intestine where it breaks down fats, and the fat-soluble vitamins are absorbed through the wall of the small intestine. Upon absorption, the fat-soluble vitamins enter the lymph vessels before making their way into the bloodstream. These vitamins are used throughout the body, but excess is stored in the liver and fat tissues. As additional amounts of these vitamins are needed, our body taps into the reserves, releasing them into the bloodstream. Since fat-soluble vitamins are stored in our body for long periods of time, toxic levels can build up with supplementation. So it's preferable to make sure that we get these necessary vitamins from food and use supplementation rarely. Fat-soluble vitamins are vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. These vitamins help with bone formation and repair, protecting vision, help with absorption of other vitamins, and act as antioxidants. Minerals. The body needs and stores fairly large amounts of what are called the major minerals. The major minerals our body needs are calcium, chloride, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, and sulfur. These major minerals perform many important functions within the body, including maintaining the proper balance of water in the body by sodium, chloride, and potassium, maintaining healthy bones by calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium, and helping stabilize protein structures that make up hair, skin, and nails by sulfur. Due to the complex interaction between minerals, having too much of one major mineral can result in the deficiency of another. These sort of imbalances are usually caused by overloads from supplements, not food sources. For example, if you ingest too much sodium through table salt or processed food, calcium can bind with excess sodium in the body and is excreted. So you could end up losing needed calcium as your body rids itself of the surplus sodium. This again highlights the need to eat healthy, balanced whole foods and reduce intake of sodium-rich, especially processed foods. Our bodies also use a lot of trace minerals, which refers to the minerals that our body needs in very small amounts. Their contributions are just as essential as those of major minerals. Trace minerals important for our body are chromium, copper, fluoride, iodine, iron, manganese, molybdenum, selenium, and zinc. Trace minerals carry out a diverse set of tasks. Iron is responsible for the structure of hemoglobin and is essential for its activity of carrying oxygen throughout the blood. Fluoride helps mineralize areas of tooth decay and create hard tooth structures and bones. Zinc bolsters the immune response and influences aromatase enzyme and raises levels of luteinizing hormones to promote healthy levels of testosterone in the body. Trace minerals interact with one another, sometimes in ways that can trigger imbalances. For example, a minor overload of manganese can exacerbate iron deficiency. Having too little of a mineral can also cause problems. When the body has too little iodine, thyroid hormone production slows, causing sluggishness and weight gain. Takeaway: vitamins and minerals are extremely important for our health, from maintaining our organs to releasing energy from food and helping run the biochemical processes smoothly. Aim to incorporate lots of fruits and vegetables in your diet and reduce intake of processed foods. Don't rely on supplementation for vitamins and minerals, as they are mostly useless and can be dangerous, causing overdoses in some cases. Instead, focus on consuming whole foods with natural sources of vitamins and minerals. .3 General Principles of Diet. A healthy diet means including a variety of foods from each of the major food groups every day. That provides the necessary macronutrients and micronutrients for healthy functioning of all your body's necessary biochemical processes and aids all the repair and growth needs. The major food groups are 1. Vegetables, 2. Grains, 3. Fruits, 4. Dairy, 5. Protein foods. The protein foods category is interesting. It lumps meat, poultry, seafood, and eggs with beans, peas, nuts, and seeds, even though the items in the latter category are closer to vegetables and fruits and grains than meat products. But this classification is useful as it helps people know that they can get their protein fix from healthier plant-based options instead of relying solely on meat products. Dairy is also an important category, as milk and milk products contain several important nutrients including protein, calcium, vitamin D, potassium, etc. Some people are lactose intolerant and can't consume them. For those people, plant-based milk like almond milk, coconut milk, oat milk, soy milk, etc., especially using options that are fortified with calcium and omega-3s, can serve as an excellent replacement. These days you can also find cheese, butter, yogurt, and even ice cream that are made with plant-based milk options that taste as good as the traditional dairy-based options and can be a healthier substitute. Grains include wheats, oats, quinoa, barley, millets, etc., and is best consumed in a whole grain form, as that retains the natural nutrients and fiber that are removed from the refined grains. Whole grain products include whole grain cereals, whole wheat bread, oatmeal, brown rice, quinoa, etc. Refined grain products include white bread, white rice, pasta, crackers, etc., which don't carry the same nutritional benefits as their whole grain counterparts. Vegetables come in various colors, each with their own nutrition profiles that provide macronutrients and micronutrients to our diet. Vegetables are also a healthy source of fiber in our diet. Dark green vegetables like spinach and broccoli contain vitamin A, K, C, B2, B6, and are also rich in vitamins like phosphorus, copper, zinc, iron, calcium, and magnesium. Yellow, orange, and red vegetables like carrots, squash, sweet potatoes, and tomatoes are good sources of vitamin A and C, and are also rich in several B vitamins and minerals like phosphorus and potassium. We should try to include vegetables in all the main meals. We can add spinach or kale to our smoothies for breakfast, or add mushrooms, onions, and or green, orange, red peppers to our scrambled eggs or omelets. There are multiple ways to consume vegetables for lunch and dinner, sometimes raw in salads or cooked in a sauce. Use herbs, spices, and condiments to make the preparation tastier while adding other health benefits. Fruits are a rich source of macronutrients and numerous vitamins and minerals. They should be an essential component of our diet, and there are many options to choose from depending on your preferences. They can also be included in your cooking and made part of all your meals, sometimes as an after-meal dessert. The only thing we need to be careful of is fruit juices, as they remove the essential fibers and other nutrients and contain added sugar. Smoothies are a better option to contain fruit in a drinkable form, as they retain all the good parts of the fruit and not just the sugary juice. Overall, we should try to incorporate foods from all the major food groups or their replacements in natural whole food form. We should try to limit consumption of high saturated fats, high sodium, high sugar, and foods with preservatives and chemical ingredients as much as possible. This means limiting processed, pre-packaged foods, fast foods, etc. as much as possible. Most of your meals should be based on foods that has undergone cooking and flavoring in your kitchen. You need to start enjoying preparing and eating meals at home. Keeping a well-stocked pantry and freezer so that you can easily make healthy meals at home is an important step in that direction. It's never too late to start familiarizing yourself with the wonderful world of herbs and spices and start cooking and flavoring your food with them. Herbs and spices make food tastier while boosting your health. Herbs like basil are the leaves of a plant, while spices like cinnamon are usually made from the seeds, berries, bark, or roots of a plant. Both are used to flavor food. They're chock full of healthy compounds and have several health benefits, like fighting inflammation and reducing damage to our body's cells. Adding herbs and spices to our diet has another side benefit. Since they are so flavorful, they make it easier to cut back on less healthy ingredients like sugar and salt and added fat. Some of the most common herbs and spices are garlic, ginger, chili peppers, rosemary, basil, sage, turmeric and cumin, etc. I recommend picking up a cookbook that deals with the types of food you enjoy and start teaching yourself how to make some of your favorite items in your own kitchen using natural whole food ingredients. Apart from foods, we need to make sure to drink plenty of water throughout the day and not just when we are thirsty. Water makes up about 60% of our body weight, and every cell, tissue, and organ in our body needs water for proper functioning. Water helps to get rid of waste from the body, regulates temperature, and lubricates joints. Lack of water can lead to a host of dehydration-related issues, and even a mild lack of water can cause you to feel low in energy. The recommended daily intake of water for women is about 12 cups per day, and for men it is about 16 cups per day. This includes water consumed through other foods and liquids. Note that if you are exercising, then you will lose more water through sweating and will need to increase your water intake to make up for that additional loss. Takeaway. We need to eat foods from all the major food groups that includes vegetables, grains, fruits, dairy, and protein foods as part of our daily diet. We should prefer whole food and plant-based items whenever possible and limit intake of sugar, salt, saturated fats, and highly processed foods as much as possible. Herbs and spices added to our food not only add wonderful flavors, but also provide lots of important health benefits and reduce over-reliance on salt and sugar. We need to make sure to drink plenty of water throughout the day to stay hydrated and flush waste from our body. .4 Eating approach. Chances are, if you haven't put a lot of thought into your diet before, your diet is what you grew up on. If you used to eat lots of vegetables growing up, then most likely that's what you like as an adult. And if your diet was grains, meats, and potatoes growing up, then you are going to continue doing that as well. And you will probably pass this diet on to your kids. There is nothing wrong with it, and if it is working for you, then there is no real need for change. The only impetus for change should be misalignment of your current diet with your health goals, an illness, or change in your outlook towards certain methods of food production or ways of eating. If your current diet is not leading to the health and body you want, it's time for a change. Many people refer to this as dieting, and they usually opt for what's trendy right now, instead of thinking about what works best with their lifestyle and their goals. I prefer to refer them as eating approaches to change this mindset. Dieting implies something temporary that you force yourself to do to prepare for a short-term health goal, like going on a low-carb diet to lose weight before a big family event. The short-term nature of it means that you tend to not be consistent with it to reap all the benefits, and the positive changes you see in your body are also short-lived. Soon you find yourself reverting to old habits and lose all your positive gains. When we think of eating approaches, we should think in terms of what we eat, when we eat, how much we eat, that fits with our lifestyle. That ensures that we are most likely going to stick with it. This consistency is what will bring the biggest benefits. Having this eating approach match with our lifestyle means that it can be seamlessly integrated without a huge disruption. It will be easy to stick with it as it will disappear in your routine and bring you joy when you see the results. The best eating approach I have come across is called intermittent fasting. IF, as the name indicates, is an eating approach that incorporates periods of fasting in your daily schedule. The periods of slightly longer fasting than usual turns on our body's natural hormonal and metabolic processes to give the benefits of fat loss and increased energy. Apart from these benefits, it is also found to increase levels of human growth hormone, increase insulin sensitivity, increase cellular repair processes, reduce inflammation, and build immunity, and even increase hormone BDNF that may lead to better brain function. There are many ways to do IF. The most common one, and the one I recommend, is 16-8, which is 16 hours of fasting followed by 8 hours of eating window every day. I find this one the easiest to follow so I can skip breakfast to easily meet that goal. The only challenge for me, because I also weight train to gain more muscle, I need to keep up with my calorie requirements, so I need to make sure to squeeze all the calories my body needs during the 8 hours of eating window. Note that this eating approach doesn't specify what to eat and instead focuses on when to eat. This doesn't mean that you should stop following the recommendations in previous sections. You still want to eat unprocessed whole foods cooked in your kitchen as much as possible, and reduce intake of sugar and salt and the processed foods to get the most benefits out of this approach. In the fasting phase, you want to make sure that you stay hydrated. As long as you stay under 50 calories and don't cause an insulin spike, you will maintain your fasted state. So drinking tea, coffee without milk or sugar is fine. Avoid drinks with calories like soda or juices. Taking medicines is fine. Try to avoid solid foods during this period. In your fasting phase, you can exercise, but keep in mind that you can't drink pre-workout or post-workout in the fasting phase, so if you are trying to gain muscle, this can be a showstopper. I would recommend working out in the eating window if you are trying to gain muscle so that you can replenish the body with carbs and protein to help rebuild broken down muscle fibers and make them grow. But if your goal is just to lose fat, you can work out even during your fasting phase. The way I like to do IF is by delaying my first meal of the day to 12 p.m. by skipping breakfast and then making sure that I finish my dinner, which is the last meal of the day, before 8 p.m. I go to bed usually around 10 p.m. and wake up at 6 a.m. I drink water after waking up, usually with some apple cider vinegar. Around 7 a.m. I take my morning green tea. At 10 a.m. I make sure to get my big glass of water to stay hydrated. Then at noon, my eating window begins, and I start with either a protein shake to break my fast or grab some lunch. Now I am free to eat at any time, so I will grab another protein shake before I head to the gym at 5 p.m. I may also snack on some nuts or protein bars or a piece of fruit or rice cakes with almond butter depending on how much calorie I should be taking in. I have a post-workout shake right after my workout is finished. I wait about a half hour, then have my dinner around 7 p.m. Sometimes I will also eat a piece of fruit or make a 20-ounce smoothie with extra protein and fats from extra nuts to end my day and give my body ample nutrition during sleep. I find this routine quite easy to maintain based on my 8 to 5 job. You may need to adapt the eating window based on what works best for you, as long as the duration is kept around 8 hours. For example, you could have your first meal at 10 a.m. and finish your last meal at 6 p.m. This eating approach has several advantages. Fasting period makes me appreciate the food more when I am within my eating window, building a healthy respect for food as fuel to my body. I spend less time during my day thinking about making food and eating food, and can focus on other activities that are more enjoyable to me. Also, I can incorporate some of my favorite calorie-dense foods that I need for muscle gain without any negative effects of fat accumulation. As I mentioned above, 16-8 is just one approach to doing IF. There are several other ways in which you can reap the beneficial effects of fasting. You can use a 5-2 approach, which is 5 days of normal feeding followed by 2 days of underfeeding of 500 calories or less. You can also choose the Eat Stop Eat method, where you can skip any food for 24 hours 1 to 2 times a week. There is another variation called OMAD, 1 meal a day, where you limit your meal to once a day and make sure to take in enough calories within the 1 hour or so of eating window. This is an extreme form of IF, but many people like it due to its simplicity. For people who hate planning for multiple meals in a day, the OMAD diet can come as a huge relief. With the OMAD diet, you just need to focus on that one huge meal. This can be very satisfying for some people. It is still recommended that you choose a healthy, balanced plate containing all the important food groups. Regardless of which IF approach you use, consistency is important. Don't fret. If due to life circumstances like travel, family events, sickness, etc., you are not able to follow it on some days, just try to get back to it as soon as you can, and you will still reap its benefits. Intermittent fasting is not the only eating approach out there. There are many trendy ones like ketogenic, paleo, IIFYM, zone, starch solution, etc., and they all offer some benefits, but I find most of them extreme or misguided in some way. They are too restrictive like the keto or paleo diet, or too lax or undefined like the IIFYM diet. Keto and paleo diets are hard to stick with long term as they require you to remove or greatly reduce grains, legumes, etc. from the diet, which research has shown to be one of the major food groups that our body needs. IIFYM diet basically says that you can eat whatever foods you like as long as you fill your allotment of macronutrients in proteins, carbs, and fats. Most people take it to mean they can abandon the idea of eating wholesome foods. Continuing these kinds of unbalanced plans that favor one food group over another or suggest unhealthy notions of food might lead to some unpleasant or even dangerous conditions over time. Sometimes there are cultural, religious, or ethical reasons to why you prefer to avoid certain food items. If you can find healthy replacements for all the major food groups, then there is no cause for concern. Veganism is becoming more and more popular these days, and many people are switching to it for ethical or health reasons. The truth is, we don't need to eat meat or dairy products as most of the macro and micronutrients can easily be obtained from plant-based options. Plus, we remove the risk of high cholesterol and long-term damage to our intestines caused while eating white and red meat. Choose wisely, and what works for you and what you can stick to. Takeaway. I recommend intermittent fasting as it's the best eating approach for most people in my experience. Its protocols are relatively easy to follow, and therefore it can be adapted to become a part of your lifestyle that you can be consistent with. A 16 hours fasting and 8 hours eating window works well for most people. Make sure to still manage your calorie intake and the intake of your macro and micronutrients. .5 Supplements. Modern diets for some people are lacking in many of the essential nutrients that our body needs for healthy sustenance and repair. Sometimes life gets in the way and we are not able to eat a healthy and balanced diet that will provide our body with all the macro and micronutrients required. At other times, we may be placing higher than usual demands on our body, such as when we are following an exercise routine or recovering from an illness or injury that requires faster recovery and repair of more wear and tear than usual. Moreover, due to modern farming practices, the agricultural soils are becoming nutritionally depleted, and the same foods are starting to have less of those nutrients than found previously. When taking all these factors together, it's easy to see why we may require supplementation sometimes. We just need to be careful to not become dependent on them and only use them to fill gaps when we cannot find a good whole food substitute. There are also a certain class of supplements that are not meant for addressing a nutritional gap, but instead influence our biochemistry to offer something beyond our regular needs. These can help you with a little boost when you are in a low period or need a little bit extra motivation. However, these need to be properly cycled, as in we need to take days, weeks, sometimes months off from them to make sure that they don't lose their effectiveness, requiring higher and higher dosages to get the same effects in subsequent usage. These can be easily abused, and constant use can lead to burnout of our neurotransmitters. These should be kept only for emergencies and to power yourself through any negative phases in your life where there is a higher than usual stress or demand in your life, and then eliminated from your daily routine. First step in deciding whether you need any supplementation is taking a critical look at how you are feeling in your day-to-day life. How do you rate your health on a general basis? How much energy do you have? Do you have a persistent chronic issue? Are you happy with your weight? Are you generally in a good mood, or are you easily irritable? Write them all down. Are you currently taking any supplements already? Do you take any vitamins, protein shakes, any herbal supplements, anything for weight loss? Document them somewhere. If you are already taking some supplements, start with finding good whole food substitutes so that you can remove supplements you don't need. For example, if you are taking a zinc supplement, consider incorporating lentils, nuts, seeds, oats, mushrooms in your diet instead and drop the zinc supplement. Do the same for other supplements as much as you can so you can get to a complete whole food diet. There is a wealth of information online on this, so I would recommend just doing a quick search for foods rich in, where you can replace the blank with whatever supplements you are taking. Then your goal should be to drop the supplements and replace them with the whole food instead. Now, after going through this exercise with your current food and supplements, you are armed much better with the knowledge of what you truly need to supplement. The next step would be to find a reliable source for the supplementation you need. I will suggest doing an online search and reading up on reviews and try to identify with numerous reviews and satisfied customers. Try to incorporate one supplement at a time in your diet and observe the effects on your body and see if it is really working for you. Sometimes this can take a few weeks, so be patient. These days, thanks to the prevalence of online marketing, everyone seems to have some magic supplement to sell. So it's important to be methodical when adding anything that you put inside your body. There seems to be literally thousands of options out there for you to consider. So, next I will list a few tried and true supplements which are well known and well tested by numerous people and have scientific studies backing their efficacy. These will be most useful to you if you incorporate some sort of exercise program in your life. Creatine. Creatine is a nitrogenous organic acid that is naturally present in our body. When taken in a supplement form, creatine helps boost the production of adenosine triphosphate, ATP, which helps in muscle repair and growth. Essentially, creatine gives bursts of energy and helps with muscle repair during your workout to help you run a little faster, put up 1 or 2 more reps, and push your muscles to perform their best. There are hundreds of clinical studies supporting its effectiveness for producing results when combined with an exercise. Creatine comes in a lot of forms: powder, liquids, solids, etc. It's also found in smaller doses in foods like meat, fish, and eggs, but this is one supplement that is more useful in a concentrated form. Most people prefer to take it in a powder from pre-workout. You can mix it in your protein shake or in a smoothie. Branch chain amino acids, BCAAs. BCAAs are a mix of 3 vital amino acids called leucine, isoleucine, and valine, which are essential for muscle repair and recovery. They help your muscles recover faster after a harder workout and reduce soreness. Aside from helping muscles repair themselves, these amino acids also help provide a burst of energy in the gym and curb the production of cortisol, which can have catabolic effects. These can be taken during workout by mixing in water and sipping during the workout or post-workout mixed in a protein shake. Omega-3. Omega-3 are natural anti-inflammatory chemicals that is excellent for your lungs, blood circulation, and heart health. It helps ease joint and muscle soreness and is vital to the recovery process and overall health. They are naturally found in flaxseed, chia seeds, walnuts, beans, sprouts, avocados, and some variety of fish. You can choose to take this in supplement form based on flaxseed or borage oil or even fish oil. Glutamine. Glutamine is the most abundant free amino acid that's produced naturally by the body. It is produced in the muscles and used as energy source for the immune system, gut function, and other metabolic processes. Under times of stress, or when there is inflammation or injury, our body increases the usage of glutamine and it might become necessary to supplement. Glutamine is found in many types of foods like spinach, cabbage, parsley, beans, dairy products, nuts, fish, and meat. A good glutamine supplement can be very helpful to keep your glutamine levels high and help retain your muscles, especially when on a workout routine or if you have other stressors in life. Beta-alanine. Beta-alanine is a non-essential amino acid formed in the liver or in the gut through the action of gut microbes. Unlike the amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins, beta-alanine is used to produce carnosine, which is stored in skeletal muscles and reduces the accumulation of lactic acid in your muscles, thereby helping withstand fatigue more effectively. By taking concentrated amounts of beta-alanine, we can help our body produce more carnosine and therefore more resistance against fatigue. This means extra reps during workout, longer distances for your run, better performance for sports, and then faster recovery and growth. This is more effective when taken as a part of a pre-workout meal or shake. Supplementation schedule. Thankfully, we don't have to go out and buy individual supplements listed above. Some enterprising companies have made that job slightly easier by integrating these supplements into protein powders, pre-workouts, and post-workout drinks. If you are performing any sort of exercise routine that is geared towards gaining muscle and losing fat, then protein supplementation should be the first thing to consider. They are easy to take anywhere and anytime during the day. I usually like to keep a container of protein powder at work so that I can mix up a quick shake a couple times a day. I mix 2 scoops of protein powder in water for about 200 to 250 calories and a 40 to 50 grams of protein with little to no carbs and fat. It's hard to find a supplement that offers such convenience, is easy to drink, and provides enough protein to address any gaps in my diet. The days that I'm going to work out, I also take a pre-workout, which for me is usually protein mixed with pre-workout in water, taken half hour before I expect to go to the gym. This gives it enough time to absorb into the system and give me an extra kick when I am working out. The protein powder I usually choose has BCAAs, glutamine, and beta-alanine as one of their ingredients, so I don't need to supplement them through other means. I make sure to take the pre-workouts that already contain creatine. After workout, it's beneficial to replenish your muscles depleted of glycogen by drinking a post-workout protein shake. It's also beneficial to take extra protein right before going to bed, as typically we'd spend the longest duration without any nutrition when we are sleeping, and this is the time when our body is wired to repair damaged tissues. I like to make a protein smoothie after dinner, usually with extra nuts for healthy fats and omega-3s with slow releasing energy. By focusing on just few ingredients, all I need is a good protein powder and pre-workout powder to cover all my supplementation needs. Your goal should be similar: to keep supplementation at a minimum and rely on whole foods as much as possible. Takeaway. Some supplements are extremely useful depending on your goals and needs. They should be used to add nutrients missing from your diet or to achieve an advantage during exercise or to get over life stressors. Creatine, BCAAs, omega-3, glutamine, and beta-alanine are the most recommended supplements besides protein. Carefully assess your supplementation needs and only take what's necessary. Try to get as much of your nutrients from whole foods as possible. Chapter 4. Exercise. Exercise is any bodily activity that enhances physical fitness and overall health and wellness. It is performed for various reasons, including losing weight, increasing muscle strength, strengthening the cardiovascular system, sharpening your athletic skills, and sometimes just for enjoyment. Not all exercises are the same, and not everyone needs the same kind of exercise. The exercise that is most beneficial for you depends on your age, fitness level, your goals, and your genetics. Most importantly, it should be something that fits your lifestyle and interests that you can do consistently. It doesn't help if you are excited about the exercise in the beginning, but then stop after a couple weeks. Any positive benefits you might have seen will very quickly disappear, and you are left with nothing but wasted time. So, it's important to choose wisely. Now, this is not to say that you can't have days off, and if you are not consistent all the time, then you have failed. It's easy to recover from few missteps or days, but overall, you must be able to return to your favorite chosen exercise. Personally, if due to some reason I miss exercise, like when I am traveling for work or going on vacation, I don't sweat it too much. I am, however, eager to get back to my routine, as I truly do enjoy it. This helps me stay consistent, and small deviations don't set me back. You need to find an exercise that does it for you. I don't think it's beneficial to be one of those crazy fanatics who cannot take a day off without going into severe depression or withdrawal and thinking that they have reverted to their old ways. Like everything in life, we need to find balance. My goal in this book is not just to help you rewire your physicality, but also your mentality. We need to develop healthy thoughts around a healthy lifestyle, and a huge part of that is being elastic and practical. And being elastic means being able to bounce back from minor deviations and setbacks. In the next section, we will look at some major types of exercise you can choose from so you can find your passion, something that makes you miss it when you are away and keeps you coming back. (4.1) Exercises. Physical exercises are generally grouped into 3 types, depending on the overall effect on the body. Aerobic exercise is any physical activity that causes the body to use more oxygen than it would while resting. The goal of aerobic exercise is to increase cardiovascular endurance. Examples include running, cycling, swimming, brisk walking, skipping rope, rowing, hiking, or playing tennis. Anaerobic exercise consists of activities that are used to strengthen and tone muscles, improve bone strength, balance, and coordination. Anaerobic exercise consists of activities that are used to strengthen and tone muscles, improve bone strength, balance, and coordination. Examples include weight training, functional training, eccentric training, interval training, and sprinting. Flexibility exercises consist of activities that stretch and lengthen muscles to improve joint flexibility and keep muscles limber. Examples include yoga or Pilates. While the above was a scientific breakdown of exercises based on the effects of the body, most people usually categorize them in some more broad, popular terms seen below. Cardio. This includes activities like running, swimming, walking, jogging, or hiking. Yoga. This includes various forms of yoga, Pilates, and other stretching and flexibility type exercises. Calisthenics. This can include various low-intensity or high-intensity exercises where resistance exercises are performed using your own body without any additional weights. Weightlifting. This includes lifting weights for bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, etc. CrossFit. This is a branded fitness regimen that incorporates elements from various other exercise forms. Sports. This category is quite broad as the training depends on the type of sports being played and may include components from various exercise forms and can be focused on aerobics, strength, accuracy, flexibility, agility, power, or a mix of them. None of these exercises are purely aerobic, anaerobic, purely strength training, or only about flexibility. It's not abnormal to see gymnasts who are as strong as bodybuilders even though they might never do typical strength training. Our body parts don't function or grow or shrink in isolation. The type of exercise you choose should depend on your interest and natural aptitude and your body type and sometimes goals. If you are drawn to a particular form, give it a try and see if you love it. Gradually you will find something you really like and then you will also find it easier to stick with it. Having said that, let's dive a little deeper into each exercise type and maybe one of these forms will click with you and pique your interest. Cardio. There are 2 forms of cardio, low intensity and high intensity. Low intensity cardio falls under aerobic category while high intensity cardio falls under anaerobic category. With low intensity exercise, the aerobic phase starts after about 2 minutes when your body starts transferring energy to your muscles using oxygenated blood carrying glucose. Blood sugars and calories are burned slowly throughout the duration of low intensity exercise. High-intensity exercise involves short, intense intervals of activity for up to 2 minutes, during which the body is in an anaerobic phase. During this high-intensity period, oxygen is not yet involved in the energy transfer process, and your body is primarily fueled by stored glycogen within your muscles. This quick burst of stored glycogen usage can help increase your metabolism. High-intensity cardio also helps with burning calories at an increased rate long after the exercise is over. So, how do you choose the right form of cardio? As I mentioned before, the key is consistency, so you should choose a form that you love and can sustain with your lifestyle and goals. If you only have time for a quick 30-minute high-intensity workout, then it doesn't matter if a longer 2-hour low-intensity workout is better, because you will find it hard to make it fit within your schedule, and even though you might force yourself to start, you will drop it soon enough, thereby negating any potential benefits you could derive from it. If time is not an issue, then here are some quick pros and cons for you to base your decision. High-intensity cardio pros and cons. Takes less time and is a more efficient solution for fat loss and muscle building. Increases metabolism and continued calorie loss that lasts even after workouts. Stressful for joints and generally physically and psychologically demanding. Needs enough calories to maintain muscle mass. Low-intensity cardio pros and cons. Takes longer to perform but is safer and easier on the body. More suitable for elderly people or someone with low fitness levels. Easier on the joints and less demanding mentally. Can be used in conjunction with low-calorie diets to lose weight. Strength. Weight training. Weight training is a common type of strength training for developing the strength and size of your muscles. It involves lifting or moving weighted bars, dumbbells, or weight stacks through concentric and eccentric contraction of your muscles. It also includes using a variety of specialized equipment to target specific muscle groups and types of movement. Weight training is central to training for bodybuilding, weightlifting, powerlifting, and strongman. Many other sports use strength training as part of their training regimen, like American football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey, lacrosse, mixed martial arts, rowing, boxing, and wrestling. Bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is the use of progressive resistance exercises to control and develop their muscles for aesthetic purposes, focusing on musculature, symmetry, and conditioning. In competitive bodybuilding, bodybuilders are required to perform specific poses for a panel of judges to rank them on various criteria. Bodybuilders prepare for competitions through the elimination of non-essential body fat to achieve maximum muscular definition and vascularity. Bodybuilders may use anabolic steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs to build muscles while keeping body fat levels low. The winner of the annual IFBB contest are generally recognized as the world's top professional bodybuilder. Weightlifting. Weightlifting or Olympic weightlifting is an athletic discipline in which the athlete attempts to maximize the ballistic limits. This is measured through explosive strength in lifting a barbell loaded with weight plates. This is different from other strength sports where the focus is more on maximum limit strength. The lifts in weightlifting are therefore executed faster and require more mobility and a greater range of motion. There are two primary movements the competitors are judged against, including the snatch and the clean and jerk. These movements and their component lifts, examples are squats, deadlifts, cleans, are commonly used by elite athletes, even in other sports, to train for both explosive and functional strength. Powerlifting. Powerlifting is a strength sport that consists of maximizing weights lifted for squats, bench presses, and deadlifts. It involves the athletes attempting to lift the maximum amount in those moves with a barbell loaded with weight plates. Lifts may be performed equipped using supportive bench shirt or squat and deadlift suit or briefs, or unequipped. CrossFit. CrossFit is a strength and conditioning program consisting mainly of a mix of aerobic exercise, calisthenics, and weightlifting. CrossFit is focused on constantly varied, high-intensity, functional movement with the goal of improving fitness. The classes typically include a variation of warm-up, a skill development segment, strength-focused movement, high-intensity workout of the day or WOD, or a period of stretching. CrossFit gyms use equipment like barbells, dumbbells, gymnastic rings, pull-up bars, jump ropes, kettlebells, medicine balls, plyo boxes, resistance bands, rowing machines, etc. CrossFit programs are decentralized, but its general methodology is used by private affiliated gyms, fire departments, law enforcement agencies, military organizations, as well as sports teams as part of their respective training regimen. Sports. Most sports training is usually a mix of strength, power, stamina, accuracy, agility, flexibility to varying degrees. You can typically look at the peak performers in any sport to get a sense of what type of body you can expect to build by training for that sport. A football quarterback may be very muscular and lean as they have to be strong and also fast. A soccer player is most likely to be athletic, ripped with very strong legs. A swimmer is more likely to have a very sleek-toned body with great shoulder and back development. A tennis player is more likely to be lean, with very little extra mass, as agility is way more important. The body type may not be the sole determining factor for you. Your choice should also be driven by your interest and availability. You need to consider all these factors and choose a sport that's optimum for you, and then stay consistent. What you will find that most sports people also supplement their sports training with other forms of workout to maximize their potential in that sport and develop power, strength, muscle to support their sport-specific training needs. Unless you plan to compete at elite levels, you may not need to do this. However, you may consider alternating between sports training and other forms of workout to keep things interesting and prevent any injury by hitting the same muscle group repeatedly. Takeaway. Some of you may prefer a cardio activity for general fitness and losing fat, and others may prefer to gain strength, while others still may want to put on muscle and gain strength while losing fat. Whatever your goals may be, it's important to find an activity that you truly enjoy doing. This will allow you to be consistent and make progressive gains. It doesn't have to be just one activity. For example, you may like biking and doing CrossFit. If you are consistent with the program, you will notice results, and by staying on one program, you will be able to better track your progress. (4.2) Exercise Principles. It's much better to work smart than to work hard mindlessly. The goal in this book is to show you how to live a balanced life with exceptional health that's geared towards long-term success well into your old age. Working out is no different. You can work hard in the gym day in and day out and see little to no gains, or you can work out smart 3 to 5 days a week and see exceptional gains while spending the rest of the time enjoying your life and doing the things that matter to you. My goal here is to list some of the most universally agreed upon concepts, techniques, and tips and tricks to make sure that you are working smart. The list of important ideas and concepts retained in this book is interesting in how short it is and how much of chaff I had to throw away to keep only the real essentials. All the advice from fly-by-night experts in men's health magazines and Instagram influencers have been left out, purposefully to focus only on science-backed facts. Work capacity. Energy is a measurement of the ability of something to do work. Work is therefore defined as the amount of energy needed to move an object of certain weight by a certain distance. You can immediately see the parallels of work with what we do when we exercise, as most of the exercise involves either moving our own body or some weights over a certain distance. When we are running, we are basically moving our own body by a certain distance. When we are doing squats in the gym, we are moving the barbell by a certain distance down and then back up. This means we are doing work when we exercise, and we are spending energy to do this work. Work capacity is defined as the total amount of work you can perform during your training. For our purposes, we can modify the definition of work capacity to mean the amount of work that you can perform through exercise and successfully recover from, allowing your body to adapt and gain strength, stamina, or power. We extend and compress our muscles as we perform exercise, putting stress on them. These muscles need to adapt to this greater requirement being put upon it, and it does so by growing in thickness, adding more muscle fibers, and breaking down and regenerating. To be able to grow, we need to put more work in. However, if we overstress our muscles beyond a certain point that they can't effectively recover from, this can lead to overtraining. This will not give the muscles enough time to adapt and grow, thereby defeating the purpose of exercise. So, there is an optimal amount of work needed to be done to grow. Too much can cause overtraining, while too little can mean not enough stimulus for muscle growth. The key is to listen to your body and then increase stress gradually. Your body, after adapting, will reach a point that your current level of training will no longer elicit a growth response. Once it gets accustomed to a certain level of work done, the only way it can grow is by doing even more work. Muscle growth. In this book, we are focused on the needs of an average person who wants to stay fit throughout their life, without risk for injury and sickness. For most people, it translates to gaining muscle and fat. The principles of hypertrophy provide ways to achieve that. Skeletal muscles are composed of thread-like myofibrils and sarcomeres that form a muscle fiber. After a workout, your body repairs and replaces damaged muscle fibers by fusing muscle fibers together to form new muscle protein strands or myofibrils. These repaired myofibrils increase in thickness and number to create muscle hypertrophy. Basically, there are three ways to generate muscle hypertrophy: mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. When performing workout using weights, it's important to incorporate these three different modes for the whole spectrum of hypertrophy. Here are some tips and tricks to make sure that you are hitting all three. You can use them all in different sets with the same body part on the same day, or spread them across different days. Mechanical tension. Growth happens through progressive overloading by increasing the volume of weight lifted. Goal is to lift as large of weight as possible over time. Use 80 to 90% of your 1 rep max for 3 to 8 reps. Perform 3 to 8 sets with 2 to 3 minutes rest in between sets. Metabolic stress, maintaining tension. Growth happens through longer duration of constant tension with larger number of reps and shorter rest duration. Here, the goal is to do as many reps as possible with the shortest rest period in between. Use 60 to 70% of your 1 rep max for 12 to 20 reps. Perform 3 to 4 sets with up to 1 minute of rest in between sets. Muscle damage, eccentric overload. Growth happens through slow negatives, extended range of motion, and high tension in the stressed muscle state. Here, the goal is to slow down the reps, especially during negative parts of the rep, and focus on the stretch and the squeeze. Use 70 to 80% of your 1 rep max for 8 to 12 reps. Perform 2 to 5 sets with 1 to 2 minutes rest in between sets. When performing these exercises, it's important to time everything and then track your progress. You can make a workout progressively more difficult and increase your work capacity by reducing rest time between sets, increasing the amount of weight for your reps, increasing the number of reps per set, and even increasing the number of total sets. Trust your instincts and know when to push harder and when to stop. Once you have your routine and form down and you are comfortable with your workout plan, you should be ready to switch to the next gear. You can start looking at advanced workout plans to help you reach the next level. There are several available on the internet on health and bodybuilding websites. They are as easy to find, and as always, it's important to choose one that appeals to you and then be consistent with it to see progress. You can start to utilize intensity increasing techniques like drop sets, supersets, and rest pause. Try to incorporate torque, tension, overload, repetition, quantity for finishing a target muscle workout with isolation, intraset stretching, loaded stretching like double X overloading, protocol, and cluster sets for multi-joint heavy workouts like squats, bench presses, deadlifts, shoulder presses, and rows. Takeaway. To get fitter, whether it be the ability to lift more or run faster or farther, we need to increase our body's work capacity. Work capacity is increased by progressively putting our body under gradually increasing stress. So, if you ran 4 miles last week, try to run 4.2 this week. And if you were to bench press 135 pounds last week, try bench pressing 137.5 pounds this week, and so on. While working on increasing work capacity, listen to your body and skip any increment if you're not ready. Over time, you will make significant progress in your goals. Hypertrophy, the science of muscle growth, requires very specific techniques. Muscle growth is caused by exercises that lead to one of these 3 things happening to your muscles: mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. Perform exercises in a way that follows these principles. Focus on getting your routine and form down before advancing to the next levels. It's important to follow these principles to avoid disappointment and wasted time and effort. Like most things in life, too much of a good thing is not always better. This definitely applies to exercise. When you exercise at a level of intensity and duration that you can't fully recover from by your next session, and it starts to affect your body and psychological state, then you are overtraining. This is not just a matter of being tired, but a state in which your body's metabolic system is stressed beyond its ability to promote recovery from training. Overtraining can reduce strength and cause a weakening of the neuroendocrine system. It can also lead to a suppression of hormones like testosterone, further delaying recovery. In this state, the cortisol levels can rise, which promotes muscle wasting and leads to fat storage. Signs of overtraining include weakness, lack of appetite, insomnia, and even depression. There is no state of precisely determining when an overtrained state has been reached. Recovery can take from weeks to months. Overtraining significantly increases your risk of injury through fatigue and poor technique. Overtraining may also present as a decrease in your ability to process oxygen or maintain a steady heart rate. Some of the factors that lead to acute overtraining include a sudden increase in exercise frequency, intensity, or duration of training sessions, as well as not allowing your body adequate recovery. Genetics, as well as the length of time you have been training, also play a huge factor in your ability to resist overtraining. Because no one trains exactly the same way, you should watch out for varying symptoms of overtraining. For instance, people who are doing strength training may experience different symptoms than those who are doing cardio training. Oxidative stress. During normal metabolism, our body produces unstable molecules, including free radicals. These molecules can damage our cells and create more free radicals, perpetuating this cycle. Our bodies use different antioxidants, endogenous, produced inside our body, and exogenous, consumed from our diet, to control damage caused by these free radicals. When the levels of free radicals are so high that they overwhelm our antioxidant defenses, our cells start to get damaged. This damage is called oxidative stress. All forms of exercise cause some oxidative stress, and this is one of the ways our body increases its work capacity and gets healthier. Our body is slightly weakened, recovers, and becomes more resistant to oxidative stress or other stressors. With consistent training, the capacity of the body adapts, ultimately leading to improvements in health and performance. Multiple studies have shown that well-trained athletes have a large decline in DNA damage for about 3 weeks after an intense sporting session. This is believed to be due to the enhanced endogenous antioxidative systems. In other words, their training increased their body's ability to prevent and repair DNA damage by increasing its antioxidant defenses. The concern is that doing more than a certain level of training may have the opposite effect. In theory, our body runs out of antioxidants during extreme exercise. Free radicals overwhelm our cells, and oxidative stress rises far beyond healthy levels. This is true for strength training, cardio training, and all sports. So at what point does exercise go from good to bad, and what is the optimal level of exercise? This level is different for different people, and even for the same person, it can change over time. Oxidative stress is not necessarily dependent on how much you exercise, but how much you do relative to your current ability level. Luckily, it's usually not hard to tell when you are overtraining enough to cause oxidative damage beyond the levels you can benefit from. We just need to be observant of the symptoms. Overtraining symptoms. There are several overtraining symptoms that include tiredness, tightness of muscles, decrease in performance, increase in injuries, restlessness, elevated blood pressure, decreased strength, decreased endurance, decreased max heart rate, allergic reactions, plus many more. Some are easier to spot than others. Here are the top mental and physical signs that you're overtraining. Mental. Lack of drive. You feel like you have lost the drive and motivation to train or really perform any physical activity. Lack of focus. This is typically seen in strength or power athletes or those who train with high intensity intervals, and is seen due to the sympathetic nervous system going into overdrive, causing hyperexcitability, restlessness, and inability to focus. Lack of energy. This is another effect of overtraining the sympathetic nervous system and is often seen with endurance athletes. The result of decreased testosterone and increased cortisol levels in some cases causes debilitating fatigue. Physical. Chronic soreness. This is different than the usual soreness from training, as it seems to linger for many days and is more painful. This can be due to a lack of proper nutrition as well, It's important to remember that post-workout soreness in the form of DOMS, delayed onset muscle fatigue, is normal. But if you experience intense and prolonged soreness, then it might be due to overtraining. Loss of strength. This is seen in the form of loss of strength. With regular workout over time, you expect to see an increase in strength. But if you see the opposite results, it may be due to overtraining. One of the best ways to test this is by using a dynamometer or a gripper to measure your grip strength. Measuring grip strength alone may be the most accurate and reliable way to identify overtraining. Weakened immune system. This is very often caused by a combination of things such as a lack of sleep, poor nutrition, and mental stress, and manifests as general malaise or being prone to catching colds or coughs. If this continues to happen, even after fixing your diet, lowering your stress levels, and getting proper sleep, it may be due to overtraining. How to avoid overtraining. Once overtraining sets in, it may take days, weeks, or even months to recover completely. You may need to take a complete break from exercising in order to fully recover. Here are some of the things you can do to recover or avoid getting to this state in the first place. 1. Sleep. Getting 8 hours or more of sleep is extremely important to help with recovery and prevent symptoms of overtraining. This is the time when our body heals and resets itself, so we need to make sure to get enough of it on a daily basis. 2. Diet. Your diet plays a huge role in recovery. Without the proper nutrients, our body doesn't have the fuel it takes to perform the training. We need to be mindful of the macro and micronutrients and consume whole foods from all the major food groups every day. Use supplementation if necessary to address the gaps. 3. Stress. Stress is a part and parcel of the modern life. This can come from several sources like home, work, friends, family, health, and more. High levels of stress can build up and lead to chronic conditions. It might be good to take some time off your daily routine and do some yoga, meditation, relaxing strolls, and even take a vacation to minimize and control the stressors. 4. Exercise. We know that not exercising can lead to a host of problems, but so can exercising too much. Rest should be an important part of any training plan. Rest between heavy exercise sessions and try to take 2 to 3 days off per week if you perform any intense exercise routine. To maximize results and minimize injury, make sure to increase the weights and intensity gradually to give your body the chance to adapt to the new stresses. 5. Recovery. Taking 2 to 3 days in between exercise sessions can help you recover much faster. On your rest day, you can still stay moderately active while avoiding any exercises that are too intense. You can spend time doing yoga, Pilates, light swimming, walking, etc. to help rejuvenate your body. Takeaway. Overtraining can lead to several mental and physical symptoms that can affect your daily life, from chronic pain to mental fatigue. It happens when during training you stress your body to the point of exhaustion where it can't adequately recover before your next training. These stresses start to accumulate and lead to overtraining symptoms. The solution is to not get to this state by always listening to your body. If you don't feel fully recovered, skip that day. If you are starting to feel other symptoms regularly, skip even a week or two to allow your body to fully recover. At the end of it, you should be raring to go and eagerly anticipating your next training session. Chapter 5. Hacks. Thanks to modern science, there are many tools at our disposal to assist with our health goals. These range from machines we can use in the kitchen to devices we can wear on our body to apps we can use on our phone. They can be categorized into 4 broad areas related to diet, exercise, mind, and sleep. 5.1. Hacking your diet. Kitchen scale. A kitchen scale is one of the easiest ways to measure the quantity of food that you are eating. Combine that with the calorie and nutrition information that's available on the packaging and for most common foods on the internet, and you have a powerful tool to track your caloric and macronutrient intake. You can use it to measure the raw, uncooked amounts of food, or you can use it to portion out your meal after cooking.
All you then need to track your food and macronutrients intake is a notepad or a note-taking app, and you can get an accurate estimate of what you are ingesting and what you are missing. Tracking apps. Apps like MealSnap, USDA-made Super Tracker, and other training apps that also allow diet tracking like Training Peaks, MyNet Diary fall under this category. These try to give you an idea of the macronutrients and in some cases micronutrients that you've consumed in each day. Many of these apps also give you an idea of your caloric and nutrients requirements based on your current stats and goals. This can be an indispensable tool in your progress with its helpful tracking and informational features. Some of these apps also include notification to gently nudge you to exercise more, get more sleep, or to drink water, which can be helpful in our busy lives. Metabolic rate. You can calculate your caloric needs based on your activity level, height, current weight, and goal weight, and then extract the macronutrients you need from that. Based on this rough idea, you can create meal plans that match your typical diet. You can then increase portions of certain items and decrease others that are not aligned. You may have to add certain components that you were previously not eating to match your goals. Most of the diet logging tools will allow you to calculate your baseline calorie needs, but you can also use free calculators available online to find out exactly how many calories your body burns at rest, known as the basal metabolic rate, or BMR. This is the number of calories needed to maintain basic life functions of kidney, lung, brain, heart, and other organs. There are also calculators available online that can tell you how many calories you burn once you add in your daily activity levels, and approximately how much you should eat to lose fat or gain muscle. Your metabolic rate will fluctuate based on several factors including age, gender, weight, height, genetics, diet, body fat percentage, body temperature, and external temperature. Determining your BMR. Determining your personal BMR. While there are advanced technologies, such as visiting a lab to measure heat output or expired gas exchange, there are also several different formulas that allow you to calculate BMR yourself with just a calculator. Here are two good formulas. 1. Multiply. Take your body weight in pounds and multiply by 15 to 16. This will give you an approximation of your BMR. If you want to lose weight, multiply by 12 to 13. If you want to gain weight, multiply by 18 to 19. This method is very simple, but doesn't account for gender or body fat percentage, and will overestimate caloric needs for someone who is obese. 2. Harris-Benedict formula. This formula uses height, weight, age, and gender to determine BMR. It is more accurate than the multiplying factor, but also does not account for body fat percentage, and may also be prone to calorie overestimation for obese people. For men, BMR equals 66 plus 13.7 times your weight in kilograms plus 5 times your height in centimeters minus 6.8 times age in years. For women, your BMR equals 655 plus 9.6 times weight in kilograms plus 1.8 times height in centimeters minus 4.7 times age in years. These formulas do not consider your activity levels. A heart rate monitor or body tracking device can be used to determine your total daily activity levels, which can then be used as a multiplier to calculate your effective BMR. Sedentary equals BMR times 1.2, which is little to no exercise or a desk job. Lightly active equals BMR times 1.375, light exercise 1 to 3 times per week. Moderately active equals BMR times 1.55, moderate exercise 3 to 5 times per week. Very active equals BMR times 1.725, hard exercise 6 to 7 times a week. And extremely active equals BMR times 1.9, which is hard daily exercise 2 times per day. If you really want to get an accurate BMR calculation, you can visit a sports medicine facility or university physiology lab for a resting metabolic rate test. It's a complicated process that may not be everyone's cup of tea. Adjusting your diet. Frankly, using any of the methods above to figure out how much you should be eating is just going to give you numbers. It's much more important for us to pay actual attention to our body. For example, I know that based on my calculated metabolic rate and activity levels, that I should be eating around 2,700 calories per day to maintain weight and energy levels. I also know that my weight starts dropping, shirts fit loose, cheeks get emaciated, and I get low energy levels and drive when I consistently undercut that value by more than 500 calories. I also know that I begin to see fat accumulation on my stomach if I start to consistently exceed that value by more than 500 calories. So it makes sense to me that around 2,700 calories is my maintenance level. Armed with this information, after a few weeks of trial and just being aware of how I feel and look, I can calibrate my caloric intake better and have it match my goals. I do recommend using a scale to help in the initial phase of calorie estimation. If your activity levels fluctuate during the week, you'll rarely be eating the same number of calories every day. Keeping the discussion on insulin resistance in mind, if you have an easy rest day, I will tweak my caloric intake to simply eat less, and if I have a very active day, I'll tweak my caloric intake as high as is necessary. This is all accomplished by simply following my hunger and intuition, and not by constantly counting calories. You need to get good at micro-adjusting by simply eating slightly larger or smaller portions of meals and adding or removing one or two of the snacks or small meals, based on your activity levels. Use tracking apps if necessary. Eventually, you will start to get a good feel for it and can drive your intake based on hunger and intuition. So aside from calories, are there other micro adjustments you should make? Yes. Depending on your goals or eating approach, you'll need to make macronutrient adjustments to your carbohydrate, protein, and fat intake as well. So initially, you may indeed need to measure and log to ensure your adjustments are accurate. Even this seemingly more advanced process would become simple and intuitive after some time, and the end goal should still be to learn to listen to your body. Takeaway: make an initial estimate of your calorie requirement, then experiment with going over and under for a few weeks and pay attention to your hunger levels, mood, energy, and track your weight. Refine your initial estimate of your caloric requirements. Now estimate the macros you need to match your dietary requirements while staying within your caloric goals. Keep it simple and listen to your body as you adjust. (5.2) Hacking your exercise. There are several devices and tools that can help you hack your workout. On a basic level, even a stopwatch or timer that can give you more accurate times for your reps and rest time can be a hack for tracking of your workout duration and intensity. One of the most useful hacks for me is something as simple as a note-taking app on my phone. Apps like Google Keep, Google Tasks, Microsoft To Do, Apple Notes, etc. can be used to create workout plans and to keep track of your progression in weights and reps. This has been an indispensable tool for me, and if you are not using it, I will highly recommend that you check these out. Of course, if you are tracking your progress using other means like in a paper notebook, that's fine too. Nowadays, we have several wearable devices in the market providing useful hacks for tracking what's going on in our body as you exercise, like your heart rate, stress levels, blood glucose levels, blood pressure, oxygen saturation, etc. Some of them also come with GPS functionality that will allow you to track your route when going out running, biking, or hiking. The most popular form of these activity tracking devices are smartwatches, smart rings, and chest straps. Smartwatches. Many smartwatches these days are fully functional as standalone products, while others require a companion app on a smartphone to carry out their functions. Some serve as being useful for sports, and others can be used to record historical data. After a workout, data can be uploaded onto a computer or online to create a log of activities for analysis or sharing. Some watches can serve as full GPS watches, displaying maps and current coordinates and recording tracks. Some of the smartwatches often include activity tracker features made for training, diving, and outdoor sports. Functions may include training programs, lap times, speed display, route tracking, and heart rate monitor. There are many popular smartwatches at every price point. The more expensive ones come with more features that you may or may not need. Apple, Samsung, Garmin, Fossil, Fitbit are some of the popular companies that make smartwatches. New versions of existing smartwatches are released on a yearly basis, so you should do a search on famous tech websites like Wired, Wirecutters, The Verge, Engadget, etc., and see what they recommend and which one appeals to you the most and fits your budget. Smart rings. Some people may prefer to wear regular non-smartwatches. If you still need automatic activity tracking, then smart rings can be a good substitute. Smart rings, which are typically the size of traditional rings or a bit larger, combine the features of a mobile device, such as the ability to make payments and mitigate access control, with activity tracking. They can communicate directly with smartphones through an app and can upload activity tracking data to your account on the cloud. They typically do not have a display and operate by contextual relevance or through physical or capacitive buttons with gestures. They can help you measure steps, distance, sleep, heart rate, and calorie expenditure. Chest straps. Heart rate monitoring chest straps is not everyone's cup of tea, but they are one of the most accurate and the biggest reasons why many athletes prefer them. Most of them are made of a long, belt-like elastic band that wraps snugly around your chest, a small electrode pad that sits against your skin, and a transmitter. These heart rate monitors work differently than the smartwatches or smart rings because they use electrocardiography to record the electrical activity of your heart. This process uses the electrodes that is next to the skin and needs moisture from sweat to pick up the electrical signals. The recorded heart data can then be sent through the transmitter to your smartphone using Bluetooth and recorded in the companion app. Takeaway. Smartwatches, smart rings, and chest straps are excellent hacks for exercise. These can provide a helpful aid for tracking your workout and recording your activity level and your heart rate, blood pressure, etc. automatically. They make it easier to see trends over weeks and months and adjust your program accordingly. You can also use a stopwatch or timer or a simple note-taking app on your phone to track your progress. The important thing is tracking. 5.3. Hacking your sleep. There are several things you can do to increase the quality of your sleep. Some of them are just common sense things like having a consistent sleep and wake schedule and having a routine that you repeat every day before you go to sleep. This may include shutting off the TV, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, turning off lights in the rooms, etc. before going to bed. Your brain starts to get used to the routine and learns from these cues to start preparing itself for sleep. You should also try to avoid caffeine in the evening or the afternoon if you are sensitive to caffeine. Try to finish your dinner at least 2 hours before bedtime and avoid drinking water too close to bedtime to avoid having to get up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, disrupting your sleep. Avoid exercise at least 2 hours before bedtime, and if possible, avoid screen time at least 2 hours before bedtime or use blue light filter app or setting on your phone, tablet, or computer. It also helps to set the room temperature a bit cooler, around 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, when going to bed. Also, you can try darkening the room by having blackout shades to block street lights or use an eye mask. Make sure that there are no distracting sounds or noises or use earplugs if necessary. It's important that your bed and pillows are comfortable. Make sure that your mattress is cool or you can use a cooling pad. Besides these obvious tricks, you can also take advantage of some new gadgets that have been released in the past few years to sleep better and track your sleep. These devices broadly fall in two categories. Sleep inducers. These usually work with your smartphone to prepare your body and mind for restful sleep by using meditative techniques to reduce sympathetic neural activity. My suggestion here is to look for apps on your smartphone to help with this. There are several apps like Sleepo, Sleep Booster, Sleep Sounds, etc. that allow you to quiet the thoughts in your brain, relax your mind, and get restful sleep. Sleep trackers. These also work with your smartphone or smartwatch to record your sleeping pattern and provide you with breakdown of your sleep cycles. Some of these devices may also have a built-in wake-up alarm, and the smart ones try to wake you up at the best time in your sleep cycle so you wake up feeling refreshed and not groggy. Some of these devices you can wear on your wrists like a smartwatch, or you can keep under your pillow, while others work placed next to your bed on a table. You can find the kind that you are most comfortable using so that it doesn't become an annoyance. Takeaway. Sleep inducers and sleep trackers can be a useful tool for people who have trouble getting to sleep or who wake up not feeling refreshed, indicating a lack of good quality sleep. In most cases, a smartphone app is enough to identify the issues and also provide some aid in getting to sleep. A smartwatch can also be a good option and may be necessary to get more accurate data. Besides these devices, follow the common sense advice given in this section to make sure that you have uninterrupted, high-quality sleep. 5.4. Hacking your mind. Power of routine. Consistency is key to succeeding with whatever goals you set in life. The same goes for your diet and exercise plan. But what is the secret to consistency? Why do so many people have a much easier time staying consistent while others really struggle? Is there a way to be more consistent, and are there hacks available to help with that? These are some of the questions we will address in this section. Most of the time when someone finds it hard to stick to a plan, the reason given is it's because life gets in the way. This is unavoidable, as modern lives can get very busy and most of us have several responsibilities on our shoulders. But with some careful preparation, the effects of unforeseen life circumstances can be somewhat mitigated. Here are 3 things to consider that will help greatly in dealing with this. 1. Planning. How many times a week can you exercise? What kind of eating schedule works best for you? When can you take breaks during work to down a protein shake? What time during the week can you make dinner, maybe for the whole week? Planning this beforehand will give you peace of mind and keep you on your routine stress-free. 2. Prioritizing. Once you commit to a plan, you must prioritize it. Fit your other commitments, such as social gatherings, after you've found time for your exercise. If you have more time available to you, take advantage of it and schedule an extra session, attend a class, or get outside and enjoy an activity. Adapting. Sometimes life circumstances are unavoidable. Family crisis, work stress, illness, travel, etc. will creep up on you from time to time when it will be hard to follow your diet and exercise plans precisely. In these situations, it's important to be flexible. Don't stress about it and just do something and think about how to get back to your routine as soon as you can. If you are traveling and can't make it to the gym, that's okay. Go for a walk or a run instead. Try some bodyweight squats or some planks in your hotel room. If some days you must make exceptions to your diet, that's okay too. Maybe skip a meal to make up for overindulgence the night before. With this approach of planning, prioritizing, and adapting, soon you will be able to add consistency to your routine. There is another factor to consider when aiming for consistency. Our brains seek novelty and is wired to reward us with dopamine rush when encountering a new experience. This seems to conflict with our goal of consistency, but if you think about it, do we really need newness in everything? Do we need to sleep at different hours every day for our brain to feel refreshed and rested? Do we need to get our morning coffee at different times for us to enjoy it? I think the difference is that we take these activities as necessary for our daily sustenance and survival. Therefore, newness is not only not expected, but actively desired. We can use this knowledge to frame the change in diet, exercise, as one of our basic needs in our minds, rather than an activity that we do. This will take some time and some thought reprogramming. Choose activities for exercise that you truly enjoy. Choose a diet that's healthy and tasty and make cooking a fun experience, and soon you will find yourself craving these activities and you will find that you don't want to spend a day without them. They will become that much ingrained within your routine and soon turn into second nature. Once you start to see results from your diet and exercise and lifestyle changes, you will have enough pep and drive in you to seek new experiences and challenges, which will flood your brain with enough dopamine every day. Commitment device. One of the best ways of keeping yourself committed is using what is called a commitment device. Here, the term device doesn't indicate a technology-based gadget. Instead, a commitment device is a technique. This technique refers to the use of rewards and punishments to lock yourself into following a good plan of action that you might not want to do, but you know it is good for you. Like following a diet or workout plan. In other words, a commitment device is a method of giving yourself a reward or punishment when you meet your promise or fail to meet it. This helps tie consequences to your actions and makes it easier for yourself to avoid or postpone doing things that you know are good for you. They have 2 major features. They must be voluntarily adopted, and they must be attached with some consequence for failing to follow through. The consequences selected could be monetary, like giving away money to a friend, or putting money in a jar. Or it could be forcing yourself to forego your favorite meal, or banning yourself from some other indulgence like watching your favorite TV show for 2 weeks. Basically, it should be something that's important to you so that the consequence is felt and creates negative feeling. Similarly, rewards can take various forms as well. For example, after a couple of weeks of following your workout plan is established, you can reward yourself with a dinner out at your favorite restaurant or buy a treat that you enjoy. There are some ways in which you can make these commitment devices stick better. create larger obstacles to temptations to increase the cost of temptations. For example, don't keep your favorite treats at home so you actually have to go to a store and purchase it. Share your commitment with friends, family members, or a mentor, someone whose opinion you respect. This way, your fear of judgment will prevent you from abandoning your commitment. Brain and body. We all know that when our body is functioning at its peak, our mind seems to be at its peak as well. Our thinking is clear, we have a positive outlook on life, we feel smarter, and are able to process ideas and situations better. On the other hand, when our body is not at its optimum, the brain feels foggy, thoughts are muddled, and we feel sad, and negativity seeps into everything. With new research on the brain-body connection, it's quite clear that in fact, it's not only our brain that affects the performance of the body, but vice versa. Our bodies affect the performance of our brain. So to take care of the body is to care for the brain. Some new research has gone so far as to indicate that we may even have neuron-like cells in our stomach lining that can react to and process information from what we ingest. That's fascinating. And the message is clear that we will benefit from a holistic approach to our health. Taking care of our brains and our bodies, exercising both, feeding both, and nurturing both compounds the results and is the best approach to building a healthy body and mind for life. Your efforts to take care of your mind will also manifest in other ways and other areas of your lives in your performance in sports through better hand-eye coordination and fluidity in your actions, but also in your day-to-day happiness, your relationship with others, your performance at work, in meetings and presentation. In this lesson, we have talked about ways to improve our diet and exercise through simple hacks. We also looked at some mental hacks to improve commitment. Thanks to some recent scientific breakthroughs, we now have devices that can assist us with keeping our brains in top shape. They come in the form of some wearables, and their potential is mind-bending. Let's take a look at some of them. Wearables. Brain training in the past typically involved playing games that sharpen up cognitive skills. However, thanks to recent research and understanding how the brain works and medical advancements in EEG equipment, we now have a new crop of wearable devices for brain training that promise to assist us in adopting preferred behavior and dissuading us from continuing bad behavior. They do that through neuroplasticity, by using the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new connections between cells, and neurogenesis, which is its ability to create new neurons. These devices promise to monitor or stimulate your brain to make you calmer, focused, and smarter. They are priced between $100 and $1,000, so are much more accessible to the general public. Touch points. These are two watch-type wearable devices that you wear, one on each wrist. The device uses gentle micro-vibrations on your wrists that interfere with your body's stress response. This alternating stimulation tries to shift you back into the logical, rational part of the brain and prevent a stress response. When you are encountering a stressful situation, such as fear of exercise or fear of swimming or even fear of public speaking, over time it can be helpful to reprogram your brain, particularly when it comes to stepping out of your comfort zone. Muse. This device comes in the form of a headband with advanced sensors that is designed to help you meditate, in turn reducing stress, improving your mood, and helping you relax. You can select a soundscape of your choice and get real-time audio feedback from the sensors to gradually enter deeper levels of meditation and relaxation. Halo Neuroscience Sport. Halo Sport looks like a headphone, only slightly bulkier, that works by applying an electrical pulse to a person's motor cortex. It has silicone electrodes which need to be positioned correctly for it to function properly. It's aided by an app that provides feedback and contains all the controls for its operation. The headset is designed to be used for 20 minutes before a workout or when you are taking on a new task. It's supposed to lead your brain into a neuroplastic state which lasts for an hour afterwards and is supposed to make your brain more amenable for learning new skills. Takeaway. Brain training devices are new entrants in the field of body hacks. They seem to be based on some solid science and many people swear by their effects. However, they are still a bit expensive and the field is rapidly changing. If you are curious about them, start with one that you can use as required for a few months. They have a generous return window allowing you to try them without risk of losing your money. I would say they are a worthy category of devices to keep your eye on. Chapter 6. Conclusion. Whew! That was a lot of information to absorb. Hope that by going through this book, you can appreciate the different aspects of fitness a bit better. The goal behind this book has been to remove some of the mystery surrounding your health, let you peek behind the curtain of what is going on inside your body, and demystify the secrets to lifelong fitness. You are not expected to remember all this information, especially with just one reading, but I hope you are now peripherally aware of at least the general principles and some of the tools available to you if you want to embark on a journey of a lifetime of fitness using the ABCD method. The next time when you find yourself eating fast food on a regular basis or spending every evening sitting on your couch in front of the TV, this book acts as a helpful voice in the back of your head, telling you to do right by your body and make a change towards healthier habits. You can and will still stray from your path occasionally. That's just life. But you are now also equipped with the knowledge to bounce back and get back on your path. We started with a chapter on biochemistry to give you an idea about some of the important biochemical processes going on inside the body that control not just the feelings of hunger and appetite, but also how the nutrients are absorbed and shuttled to various parts of the body. In the next chapter, we looked at diet and went through macro and micronutrients as well as some general principles. We discussed the intermittent fasting approach and discussed how to supplement to fill the gaps in our nutrition. In the chapter after that, we learned about different types of exercises and their impact on the body. Next, we delved into some interesting hacks that are available to us to assist and supercharge our quest for health. In the following short sections, I will provide a quick summary to remind and reinforce what we learned in those chapters. 6.1. Diet. Our body requires macronutrients in the form of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats for proper functioning. We also need micronutrients for many of the internal metabolic processes. We should try to get the required macro and micronutrients from the 5 major food groups of vegetables, grains, fruits, dairy, and protein foods as much as possible. We should consume these food groups in the form of whole unprocessed foods as much as possible and avoid processed foods. You can estimate your calorie requirements based on the formulas in this book, but for most people it works best to tweak your daily intake and observe how you look and feel to arrive at your ideal numbers. Most people will also benefit from adopting a 16-8 intermittent fasting approach. That includes fasting for 16 hours every day and eating all your meals within an 8-hour window. It just makes life easier and is easy to follow and stick with. If you lack certain nutrients in your diet, you can explore supplementation if a whole food substitute is difficult to incorporate in your diet. 6.2. Exercise. An exercise routine should be an integral part of your lifestyle. It brings innumerable benefits and is second only to diet in terms of its overall impact on lifelong fitness. It can improve your cardiorespiratory and muscular fitness that can help you withstand the rigors of life. Physical activity has also been associated with psychological benefits by improving your control over symptoms of anxiety and depression. Most people should aim for about 60 minutes of daily physical activity. It is appropriate to start with smaller amounts of physical activity and gradually increase duration, frequency, and intensity over time. Physical activity might include cardio-type activities like walking, hiking, swimming, cycling, or it could be a strength-building activity like weightlifting, bodybuilding, or CrossFit. For most of the people, the goal is usually to lose fat while gaining muscle. This can be achieved by following the principles of hypertrophy. When incorporating any exercise plan, you should also be aware of the other extreme, which is overtraining. Be aware of the symptoms of overtraining and pull back when necessary to avoid burnout or injuries. 6.3. Consistency. If there is one thing I want you to take away from this book, it is the power of consistency. No matter what diet or exercise plan or the latest gadgets you use, it is all for naught if you can't stick with it. Keep in mind that sometimes the best way to keep moving forward is to keep from moving backwards. Sometimes life does get in the way, so it's important to plan, prioritize, and adapt. Don't beat yourself up if due to extenuating circumstances you are not able to follow your diet that day or have to skip your exercise. Just do what you can and try to get back to your routine as soon as you are able. You'll be pleasantly surprised that when your schedule normalizes, you'll have lost next to nothing in terms of gains and developed a lot of mental resilience in the process. Use commitment devices if you have trouble sticking to a plan. Just keep in mind, you are doing this for you and you alone. 6.4. Questions and answers. Question: I want to lose weight. What's the first thing I can do to get started on a path towards a healthy body? If your goal is to lose weight, there are a few things you can start doing today. Estimate your calorie requirement using one of the formulas in the book and reduce your caloric intake by 500 calories per day. 2. Start intermittent fasting. The most common 16 hours fasting, 8 hours eating window for most people means that you will skip breakfast, which automatically helps with removing around 500 calories from your daily consumption. 3. Reduce sugar, and to a lesser extent, salt consumption. Cut out sodas, fruit juices, sugary treats, desserts, etc. from your diet. Reduce salt in your cooking and start using more spices for flavor. These 2 changes alone will mark a huge change in your health and how your body looks. 4. Start exercising. Focus on exercises that get your heart rate up in short bursts of intense activity. HIIT is one of such methods and is a great way to lose some fat and gain muscle at the same time. Lifting weights is another great way. Question: I want to start eating healthy. What should I do to get started? The first thing you can do to start eating better is to take control of where your meals come from, and the best way to ensure that is to start preparing your meals at home. If you've never cooked before, it can be daunting, so start with something simple like soup, sandwich, cut up fruits, veggies, stews, etc. that are extremely easy to make. Buy a cookbook or download a cooking app, or even watch videos on YouTube to find the step-by-step recipes to prepare something that catches your eyes and looks appetizing to you. Familiarize yourself with spices and try to incorporate them in your cooking. Soon you will develop a sense of proportions and what tastes good and in what amounts. Gradually you will be able to start cooking without looking up instructions every time. Once you develop some comfort with cooking, start thinking of ways to incorporate healthier and more nutrition items in your diet. Think of ways to add more protein by adding beans, split peas, lentils, etc. If you want to eat meat, go for white meat as much as possible. Prepare breakfast using eggs and think of ways to add spinach, mushrooms, peppers, etc. to your scrambled eggs or omelets. Make a smoothie using your favorite fruits and either plant milk or dairy. Buy a protein powder and drink that whenever you are craving a snack, or add to your smoothie for a nutritious, tasty snack or breakfast. Question: I tend to not sleep very well. What should I do to get more restful sleep? Restful sleep is one of the most important allies in your journey to a fit life. Not sleeping very well could mean that either you are not sleeping long enough, i.e. 7 to 9 hours, or you are not getting into a deep sleep state, so you wake up not feeling rested and don't feel rejuvenated. If bad sleep issues continue over time as you accrue this sleep debt, you start to notice that you get tired easily during the day, you lack motivation to better yourself, and even start making bad choices in your diet because of strong cravings for junk food. By not getting enough rest through sleep, you are depriving yourself of the benefits from healthy diet and exercise, so it's important to fix this issue. The first and foremost thing to do to start improving your sleep quality is to start sleeping at a regular time, say 10 p.m. every night. Set up a routine to prepare for bedtime, like brushing your teeth, taking a shower, and do them every night before you go to bed. Use an app on your phone or invest in a smartwatch to track your sleep and start recording the time you go to bed and the time you wake up. A smartwatch can give you even more granular data about sleep quality and show you if you are going into a deep state of sleep or waking up too often during your sleep. Avoid caffeine, heavy dinners, exercise, or being on your mobile screens at least 2 hours before bedtime. Keep incorporating these small steps in your lifestyle, and soon you should start to sleep much better and have much more energy during waking hours. Seek medical or supplemental help if necessary. Question: how can I check that I am following all the advice of the ABCD method? The ABCD method checklist is meant to give you a quick daily way to confirm your commitment to health. It's a series of questions that you can tick at the end of the day. The goal is to follow all of them every day. If you miss one or two today, don't panic and try to do better tomorrow. Soon you will notice a remarkable change in your health and how you look and feel. I did not eat any processed foods or foods added with sugar or excess sodium today. I consumed 4 to 6 servings of vegetables today. I consumed 2 to 4 servings of fruits today. I consumed 7 to 8 servings of whole grains today. I consumed 2 to 3 servings of dairy or dairy replacement without any added sugars today. I consumed 2 to 3 servings of protein foods from predominantly plant sources today. I moved my body for 60 minutes today through cardio or strength exercises. I drank 8 to 12 cups of water today. Conclusion. You now have the tools at your disposal and the knowledge to make it work for you. Take advantage of it and make a commitment to apply this to your life. Remember, consistency is key. Choose an approach for diet and exercise that you love, that makes your heart sing, that makes you excited to get up and do the workout, or make that healthy meal, or put on that smartwatch, because you know that you are working on a better you every day. Become your body's biggest cheerleader from now on. Know that your body is the only part of you that will always be with you. Taking good care of your body will help you in all areas of life, be it your work or home, so treat it nicely. With the easy-to-follow advice in this book, you can do it. Anybody can do it.